This is one of the craziest races I've ever had, and the story actually starts the night before. I was doing a daily race at Kota to pass the time, and I accidentally made this stupid mistake, which basically causes a massive pileup. And one of the guys was not very happy with that pileup. They're actually like really mad at me. They're trying to take me out, and they actually did manage to hit me a few times here. And then when I'm going into the pit lane to get damage repair again, and then after my damage repair, they wait on me to leave the pit lane just so they can hit me again. So, because I thought the first two hits were already like enough. You're not meant to be hitting people like that anyway. And I know I did cause like a massive pileup, but this is not the right response. So this actually put me into bronze, and you can't do a weekly race if you're in bronze. So I had to learn Bahrain and do a singular bronze race, a perfect one, just to get out. And then this is a qualifying.
So turn one, I managed to brake late. You want to hug that inside apex as much as you possibly can, and then quickly turn to our apex. Try and carry as much speed as you can through this section. Try and get a good exit. I managed to gain some time, but not as much as I would have liked. Turn four, very tricky. You want to brake late, but it's very tricky because you can easily brake too late and you just lose so much speed. And I actually have to go down to first to even make that. Not the best section here. I do lose some time on exit. Here, you want to go down to third and carry again as much speed as you can, but I did overdo it a bit, and that basically ruins the entire next section. And that's basically any chance of getting a good lap gone. Obviously, I'm still gonna keep going just because you never know. Go wide here. So that's definitely the lap gone, and it's really just, I'm finishing just for the sake of finishing the lap. You do gain SR if you finish a lap, so I'm doing that. And you can see I gain almost a tenth, so still a gain for my last lap just because the tires are hotter now. Not enough to move me up or anything, but kind of cements the P4. So yeah, that's a P4. Really good result considering this is my first race and my first quali in the hypercars. They are very tricky. You have to spend like the first few laps just warming up the tires. Otherwise, you
Teams
can't even
and
get like a good
drivers to
lap
go
in.
to the grid for a race
And then
start.
you see, we get called to the grid, and I'm just looking at the forecast and stuff, making some final changes on strategy. And actually, this is very important because I make the stupidest mistake I've ever made in racing ever. And basically, you can see grid. I have to go to a grid, but I don't.
Formation lap has started.
You hear that? I missed the formation lap, which is the stupidest thing you can do, and I cannot describe how stupid I felt after this. So this is a race start. As you can see, P4 is missing because I'm gone. I don't know if that was a good thing, missing the grid or not, because there is some incident at the start. You can see the Genesis sends on the Peugeot, and then they kind of just spin, and then everybody behind is basically just trying to avoid that, and some people do get involved with a bunch of crashes and everything. But there is a downside because when you start from the pit lane, you've got like ice cold tires, so you still lose a bunch of time. So really, I just avoided a crash, but I still lose a bunch of time to everybody else who managed to stay clean. Lap 3, I managed to warm the tires, and when you start from the pit, the GT3s pass you as well. So this is me going through the GT3 field now, losing even more time because I have to go through the field an extra time compared to everybody else. You can see they were fighting as I was trying to get by. That was kind of annoying, and I accidentally killed the Porsche, but I was in a bad spot already. I really didn't know what much I could have done besides not being in that spot in the first place. continuing to carve through traffic, you can see I'm catching the GT3 in an awkward spot. I think about it, but then I think no. But the BMW guy was going for a move, so he overslows, and that catches me off guard, and I almost just shunt into the back of him. I managed to save it barely. It's still time lost though. I do then pass them safely on the straight. 16 seconds to P9, and obviously this is a recovery drive since I did start from the pit lane from my stupid mistake. And I'm just trying to push, get as high as I can. This is lap 9 and I completely missed turn 1, just braking too late. The braking there, it changes a lot as you go through, and you've kind of just got to adapt before it happens. And here, there's a massive incident which I could barely see, and there's a car on their side. And I'll take a replay to see what happened there. But that caught me off guard. So, we've got the Peugeot, which is just driving, minding their own business, and there's a car ahead of them, the Porsche, and Porsche, you can see them now going really slow, and the Peugeot almost make contacts, and then they decide to just completely hold the brakes for whatever reason, let go, and they accidentally take out a Cadillac. Now on lap 11, and you can see the gap to 7th has dropped down to 3.2 seconds, and now I'm trying to push as much as I can through traffic to catch them. There is somebody who crashes right here, and again, that did kind of scare me, but I didn't have to do any avoiding action there. You can just about see the Porsche right ahead of me, and I'm just trying to push, but also push carefully, because the last thing I want to do is crash whilst trying to catch this Porsche. They get behind a Ferrari and trying to pass them, and that does slow them down, and now I'm right on their back, waiting to make a move. There's traffic into the final corner, which does help, and this is going to be tricky to get by. You see, the Porsche just goes deep on the brakes, and I'm just there on the inside, and they really have nowhere to go. They're completely boxed in, and I managed to get the move done. Gap to P6 now is 15 seconds, and I'm just trying to push safely. Lap 18 now, you can see the gap to P6 dropped from 15 to 11 seconds, and also P6 changed to a Ferrari. So now, again, continuing to try and push, see if I can catch the Ferrari. That was a close call in traffic. Usually you want to cut across the regular racing line as soon as you can. And I didn't know that the GT3 was going to brake later than I was. Or not later, but they're going to decelerate later than I was. So, yeah, that's something about endurance racing, you know. You have to be careful of traffic. That almost could have been me at the race. And luckily, I survived with no damage. As you can see, I just went wide turn 1. Again, the braking there throughout the race changes so much, and it's very difficult to keep track. You should be able to keep track, so that was just a skill issue for me. You can see gap to P6 has dropped to 9 seconds, so not really dropped by much. It's just because traffic really is changing the gap. When they go through the traffic, I gain on them, and when I go through traffic, I lose. And then this is P10, who's a lap behind, and they let me through, and I'm really thankful for them letting me through and almost take out the Lexus. But yeah, in endurance racing, it's just everybody's running their own race, and it's nice to see that people are not trying to get involved and not trying to mess you up, and they're just trying to stay in their own race and focus on what they're doing. This is lap 22, and with my setup, the issue I had was struggling to keep temps in the tires. So occasionally I'd have to weave on the straight just to keep the temp at the nice optimal. Still struggling a bit at turn 4, just kept on going off the track there. Trying to be more consistent, but really, yeah. I mean, you can see I accidentally do a massive send on the Porsche, which I was not intending to do, but that was just a mistake for me. Fast forward to lap 26, the Ferrari ahead of me is fighting one of the Genesis. The Ferrari goes wide, and the Genesis wants to make it side by side, Ferrari on the inside. The Ferrari should be able to hold it, but they make a mistake and they accidentally clip into the Genesis. And the Genesis almost takes out another Ferrari and actually loses its swing, and the Ferrari only gets minor damage. And I've just caught up to this mess and just trying to not lose as much time as I can. I'm looking at the yellow flags, I'm trying to be as careful as I can. And I see the Genesis and I try to go round the outside, but the Genesis clips me. And I spin. That's the first incident of the race. And you can see on the screen, I've got one left side suspension damage, double suspension damage, rear wing damage, and front end damage. And at this point, I don't know how bad the damage is, but I was assuming it was almost race ending. But luckily, as I felt the car, literally nothing had changed. It was more of like a cosmetic damage, I would say. There's no changes in how the car was driving at all. And you can see me preparing the pit if I needed to pit, but I felt and the wheel was still straight, so I felt I could keep pushing on. Because of this, my gap to the Ferrari ahead had very quickly diminished. You can see that's the Ferrari, and that's me not too far behind. I'm pushing as much as I can to try and catch them, and they're really lapping badly, so they did get damage from the incident with the Genesis. So I'm trying to push as much as I can, because I didn't get any damage. See the Ferrari not too far ahead, and I'm going really sending it, trying to be as careful as I can though. This is actually a lapped Ferrari I'm passing right now. There's the Ferrari right ahead. pushing as much as I can. They're going to be affected by traffic, so I do make some free gains on them. There's a white Porsche ahead of the Ferrari, which is really slowing them down. I think they're a back marker, they're lapped, I think, a few times, and they were accidentally getting in the way of the Ferrari. And then, luckily for me, the Porsche causes the Ferrari to lose a bunch of time, and the Porsche actually goes off. Right now, I was actually really scared because I thought the Porsche was going to just rejoin madly, but they don't. And I'm way closer to the Ferrari now, within a second. You can see the Ferrari loses even more time to traffic. And I know that if I don't get through this traffic, I'm going to lose a bunch of time. So I try and go inside of the Ford Mustang. It tries to move out the way. And then again on the Lexus, who luckily brakes, trying not to get involved. I know the Mustang was trying to help me, but it did almost take me out the race. And now, right on the rear end of the Ferrari, and I know I'm faster, so I'm being as patient as can be, just waiting for the right time to make the move. On the front straight, which is a common place to make a move, but I think I'm just too far back on this one, and there's traffic up ahead. But I do brake quite aggressively, and I wasn't really sure what was going to happen with the traffic, but luckily it worked in my favor. Now I'm right on the Ferrari, and I'm on track for a better exit. I actually have to lift to not into the Ferrari, and it's kind of a slam dunk pass on the side. I have the inside, and I know from the incident that the Ferrari has the damage. So once I get by, that's the move done, and the Ferrari does not appear in my race again. Fast forward to lap 41, I'm about to pit. You can see I'm in second place. That's because the BOP, the Porsche, can do lots more laps than every other car. I'm on an alternate strategy compared to everybody else. I'm doing only fuel and no tires. The reason is the track is cooling, and you saw from before I was already struggling to keep the temps up, so I thought if I go on new tires, it's going to take me way too long to get the temps up, so I decided I'll keep the same tires, and that in turn keeps the high temperature, and I don't have to do any of the warming up that the other cars are going to be doing. And I'm hoping that that's gonna gain me time. Coming to the end of lap 43, after all the pit stuff had unfolded, I moved up to third place. I jumped so many people. That's just due to the good pit entry, and just the strategy is just that much faster. Everybody else is lapping seconds slower because of this. And you can see the Porsche in second place, which I'm trying to catch now, is only 2 seconds ahead, and hope I can get them. There's a back marker Ferrari in between us, but he does understand that I'm in third place, and he lets me by, which I'm very thankful for. start of lap 45. This is the other Porsche, and you can see I'm actually not that far behind. I've gained some time on them, and I'm trying to set up a move. You can see the GT3s being really good, and I'm really thankful. They don't have to get out of the way, but they do get out the way just to make sure I can continue the battle. On to lap 46. I accidentally send it down the inside. I just brake way too late, and I kind of just shoved them off the track. And I realized this, and I'm like, all right, I've just got to give the position back. I'm not gonna take the position like this, 'cause I just didn't think it was fair. And then I go behind them, and then second place just proceeds to make a mistake after I've let them by. And this is not how I would have wanted to pass them, but this is what happened, and I'm not gonna just wait for them again. And now this is the leader, over a minute ahead of everybody else, and I've been matching their pace, but sadly, going in, they just disconnect from the race. And you can see now the game's put them in the garage, and I'm about to pass them for the lead. This is with 2 laps to go, and this is very unfortunate for the leader. This is not how I would have wanted to win the race, but that is what happened, and there isn't really anything I could have done about that. On to the last lap, and I'm not taking any risks with traffic at all. I'm just trying to bring the car home. I've been driving for the past hour and 40 minutes, and now is not the time to throw away the lead. Through the final corner, and just managing to bring it home. No major incidents or anything like that.
He has gone from last all the way to first. What a drive this has been.
And that's a really good win. Not the most deserved win, obviously, because P1 did disconnect. So I'm gonna take this as a P2. Always nice when you do a last to first. And obviously I had to do some victory donuts just to celebrate. These are one of the worst donuts I've ever done though. Like, I don't even get that much in. But I'm really happy with the race. So I managed to go from not qualifying on the race the night before to learning a new track, and then doing a race of a new track to get the SR up, and then managing to do this race and win it. I think for me that's a really good achievement, even though it wasn't a deserved win. A really good result, and yeah, I'm really happy with that. This is one of the best performances I've ever done.